Got this thing recording. I'm going to do a little recognition. Danielle's got some announcements, and then we got Maddie as our guest speaker. So jump into recognition here. So is Maddie on here? Oh, there she is. Maddie and Celine and I are speaking at the Austin Super Saturday. So if you have any coaches in the area, in the Austin, Texas area, make sure they stop by to see us and say hi. Or even customers, you can go in your coach online office and search customers to see if there's any customers that are within. I think you can search like by 50 miles or 20 miles from Austin. Maybe they can swing by and say hi. Okay, so recognition. We got a couple new Emerald coaches I see in the Team Boom coaches group. We have Nina Vadalino and Corey O'Laughlin. And then for Success Club, so in December, we had, if this thing can load, man, we had over 100, probably like 120 coaches that hit Success Club, it looks like. I'm going to read off the coaches, the one that hit Success Club 10 in December. So these are the coaches that helped 5 people last month. So we have Emily Millman, Amy Ecker, Eric Jones, Ariel Green, Lindsay Redding, Sean Wortham, Sarah Loving, Celine Bacardi, Tiffany Morin, Melissa Weber, Christina Tropiano, Sarah Caprell, Anastasia Redding, Chelsea Len, Samantha Benko, Caitlin Teft, Caitlin Walsh, Jennifer Mazeski, Brooke Reed, Kelly Marks, Aaron Campman, Ann Demick, Mackenzie Taylor, Tara Kirk, Cassandra Steelman, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, Marie Sardelli, Brandy Maselli, Susanna Bell, Randy Kruger, Megan Jones, Michelle Humerick, Megan Wortham, Emma Carney, Kelsey Connor, Cassandra Smelzinger, Bailey Glanzer, Sydney Thompson, Ashley Felddyson, and Kate Schultz. And then for top volume producers, so these are the coaches that created the most volume points from their customers' orders last week. So this is the top 20. So we got Randy Kruger, Shanika Story, Susie Bell, Casey McFadden, Ali Pendich, Jennifer Majewski, Zoe McKenzie, Francesca Calhoun, Danielle Ream, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, Megan Jones, Nina Vitalino, Bailey Glanzer, Amy Ecker, Megan Wortham, Sydney Thompson, Kelly Marks, Kate McGinty, Ashley Felddyson, and Kate Schultz. That's the volume. So that was the top 20 volume. Okay. And that is the recognition for the week. I'm going to pass it over to Danielle with a little chest pass or a bounce pass maybe.
I got it. All right.
Good hands.
What's up, guys? So just a few announcements coming into this week, this month, this year. It is our first team call of 2020. Like, get freaking pumped, right? Okay, so first things first, Pat mentioned it. Super Saturday is this weekend. Okay, it is not too late to go to your local Super Weekend. It used to be called Super Saturday, and I'm in the habit of saying that. But now it can be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, which is why they call it Super Weekend. If you go into your online office and you click on the tab where it says events, you'll see a link that will take you to the Super Weekend events that are happening in your area. So just go there, look, ask your coach, your upline. They can help you figure out which one is closest to you and get there. Do whatever you can to get there. All right. It's basically like a mini summit. If you haven't been to one, you're just, you're in a room with other Beachbody coaches, growing together, doing a workout together, and hearing all the announcements that are coming for this year. whether it be new programs, new products. They also announce when the next Success Club trip is going to be. So you definitely want to be there live and in action and be a part of that, because it's just like you're like so close to the fire when you're at these events. The other thing, 3-day refresh is 10% off this month. So if you want to run a little 3-day refresh group, I would suggest doing that, because you're going to get an extra discount on it, and so are your customers and your clients. And the last thing is Team Cup is starting in February. So what Team Cup is it's literally just you working together on a team with other coaches to hit Success Club and to work with each other that month to help, 3 or more people. All right. It's literally just you doing the same things you would do on a normal day. It's just now you're doing it with a team, and you get to like win certain prizes, and you just get to be a part of like a closer knit group environment. Right. Registration starts January 13th. And for anyone who is signed up for the Team Cup, they're actually giving out 2 promo codes to every single person. And it's 5 people on a Team Cup. So if you need to get on a Team Cup, post in the groups. Like, you have to take action as a coach. Like, you have to take the leadership and ownership. If you want to be a part of something, like, you have to put it out there. You just can't wait for someone to do something for you, okay? This is where you have to take that ownership and that leadership. And if you want to be on a freaking team, like, you find that team. You do whatever it takes. You have so many groups that you can post in. So those are my 3 announcements. If you have any questions whatsoever about any of the things I said, feel free to jump into my message box, and then I'll pass this back over to Pat. Pat, you're muted.
So I didn't catch the ball. All right, now I caught it. I got it. So Team Cup and Super Weekend. So Super Weekend, again, like Danielle said, mini summits. I can't tell you the immensity of the impact that these Super Weekends have had on my business. And I know so many of you guys have on this when you've gone to these events. There's something magical that happens there, and getting around other coaches that are fired up, that are taking time out of their schedule to go to these events, and you surround yourself with people like that. Some of the relationships I've made with those people are priceless. One of the people I met at Super Weekend is Keith Callahan, who has earned multiple millions of dollars with Beachbody. Insert the disclaimer there. But I would never have met him. I never would have become friends with him. I never would have had that connection if I hadn't just made myself go to the event. I was this close to not going to that first Super Weekend, and who knows what would have happened if I had never just made myself go to that event. So if you're on the fence, or you have coaches on the fence, this little event, this little kicking off the year, getting yourself to go to this event for a few hours of your weekend can literally change your life. And I'm not just saying that to say that, like, I know that from experience, it did for me. So I know it's a little bit of extra to maybe have to find someone to watch the kids or do something, or bring your kids, but do it. And make sure your team does it too, because it's a game changer. And then Team Cup leading into February, like Danielle said, get out of your comfort zone, reach out to some other people, just post. And if you're on a group message with other coaches, post in there. Tell them that you need a team, you're looking for a team. If you're in the Facebook groups, ask people in there that you want to be a part of a team. Take the initiative, and then also help your coaches that are in your downline to make sure they're getting to these Super Weekends and getting on these Team Cup events. It's just a game changer. All right, enough of that. So we're going to jump into our guest speaker, Maddie Fenton. She is a Team Boom. I like to call her an OG, but she's only really been a coach since 2018. She's a 2-star diamond coach. She lives in Austin, Texas as well, where I live. And she's also from upstate New York, which is cool because that's where I'm from, and a lot of Team Booms from upstate New York as well. But Maddie's someone that I remember speaking on the team call when she was a brand new coach. I think she was maybe even still in college at the time and had started her coaching business, or had just kind of left college and became a full-time coach. And she's a full-time coach to this day, rocking the business, growing it. She came over today to borrow some Beachbody recover from me because she's doing the work and she's getting her butt kicked. So she needed some recovery, and it doesn't come till next week. So she stopped by, and I hooked her up. And that's one of the cool things about Team Boom is it doesn't matter where you are in the country. A lot of times you can always find somebody on Team Boom to knock on their door and grab some Shakeology or some recover for a few days while you're waiting for your next shipment. Just one of the many perks of Team Boom. But Maddie, I'm gonna let Maddie hop on here and share, and then we're gonna do some Q&A at the end of this thing.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, solid. All right, so before I get started, I want to make sure that everybody is present. So I do ask that you put your phones away and you are focused. You know, so many times we go through life thinking of a million things at once, and I think that's why we get so stressed out, we get so anxious. And so I really want to make sure that you guys are present, and also let you know that on my team calls, we hype up the chat. So I want you to be super present and show lots of love, because I don't think it's ever easy for anybody to get up and speak. And I always get super excited when I am speaking on calls, because it's something that 4 years ago would have been so outside of my comfort zone. Like, I was definitely that person that was so anxious and could not even freaking talk in front of anybody. So I'm really excited to be here tonight and really just like share my love, share my passion with you guys. And I guess I'll just get started. A little bit of background. So Pat fibbed a little bit. I have actually been a coach for 4 years now, since I think it was 2015, because it was my first year of college. And so how I got started, I got to college, I moved from New York to South Carolina. I was 13 hours from home, and I came in as a sophomore. So my workload was super heavy. I started working 2 jobs just to like kind of stay afloat, make sure I didn't have like any payments. I needed like food to eat and stuff like that. And so I was freaking busy, like nonstop. I had classes at like 8 a.m. and then I would work at the library until midnight. So my life was crazy busy, and I didn't really have, room on my plate to add something else. But about a month and a half into college, I had these super high expectations. Oh no, Celine is messaging me. I had these super high expectations for college. I thought I was going to have the best time of my life. I thought I was going to be partying all the time, and it was just going to be so fun. And then I got there, I was working 2 jobs, and I was stressed to the freaking max. I was not sleeping. My anxiety totally took over my life. I had horrible stomach issues and pain. I was in and out of the doctor's office, and I really lost myself. In high school, I was an athlete. I was involved in band. I was always busy. I was always like very lively, and I lost that side of myself when I got to college because my anxiety just totally took over. So about a month and a half in, I was sitting in bed, and I remember this like so vividly. I was scrolling on Facebook and eating a bag of M&Ms, like literally stuffing my face, scrolling on Facebook, and I saw this transformation picture from a girl that lived near me in my hometown, which is, so tiny. If you are familiar with the Finger Lakes, like I am from probably the tiniest town in the Finger Lakes. So I saw this girl post this transformation picture, and I was like, wow, like not only does she look amazing, but she looks happy. And I craved that. I craved just feeling alive again, and that's what she looked like. So I immediately messaged her. So I'm kind of like the unicorn. I reached out to my coach and I said, what are you doing? Whatever it is, like I want in. And so I think it took her a couple of weeks of following up with me. So the fortune is in the follow-up. But she followed up with me. I had to save a little bit of money. Obviously, I was a college student, so I was pretty broke. And she said to me, if you get started as a discount coach, you will save some money. And I was like, okay, well, I am broke, so I don't know what that means. I don't know what coach means, but like sign me up. I got started drinking my Shakeology. started using the portion containers, literally taking them to the dining hall with me. And within about a week, my anxiety wasn't as bad. My stomach wasn't bothering me. I was able to get off all of my medicine. And I just felt like myself again. Like I started like really feeling confident, and that was something that I craved so badly. So from then on, I honestly just started posting on my social media. I didn't know what coaching was. I just started sharing my journey because I knew that it was going to hold me accountable if I showed other people what I was doing, because I'm the type of person that when I commit hard. And so I just started sharing authentically and went from there. So here we are. 4 years later, I am now 22, and I moved across the country this past year with my boyfriend and took a huge chance, but I'm loving it here. I'm so freaking grateful for coaching because I literally would not be here without it. I got my degree in 2.5 years and really just decided that my degree is in environmental science, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to have the freedom to travel. I wanted to have the freedom to make my own schedule. I didn't want to have a boss anymore. I had worked my ass off in college, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So here I am, and that's pretty much how I got here. And I want to just jump right into my topic because I know that took a little bit more time. But I want to ask you guys, like, well, obviously it's the new year now, but who was so freaking excited for the new year to hit? Like, you were almost like waiting. You're like, okay, like 3 more days and then it's going to be 2020. And I'm just so excited for a fresh start. That was me. And I want to talk about a little bit why, and also just like where we're going to go this year. So if you feel the same way, like obviously we're all pumped up, like new year, fresh start. We're so excited, and we're excited because not only is it like we feel like it's a fresh start for our own journey, but the people that are following us, the people that have been watching us, like they're looking for the solution that we have. You know, so many people have these New Year's resolutions and they're ready to finally commit to themselves, or at least think they're ready to commit. So we've set these huge goals for ourselves. We've, said to ourselves, this is going to be the year that I do the big things. I really grow my business. This is going to be the year that I stop procrastinating. I stop holding myself back. I stop listening or caring what anybody else says. Like, this is going to be the year that I freaking make it happen. And I love that. I love that you are saying that. I love that you have these huge goals, and this is going to be the year that you do those things. But I once got asked, when was my turning point? When was that time that I made the decision to never look back, to make it happen? And the truth is, it's not just one decision. I want you to make that decision today to not go backwards, but I want you to understand that it's not just a decision today. It's a decision tomorrow and the next day and every single day that you wake up. And that's what separates the coaches that are, really struggling in this business and can't find that consistency to the coaches who are crushing it and are where you want to be. So like I said, we don't just get there because of one decision. We get there because of every single decision every day. And I feel extremely blessed because the first book that I ever read as a coach in my dorm room, I remember having it by my bed, and it was The Slight Edge. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest it. It's very similar to The Compound Effect, but I just like The Slight Edge because that was my first ever book I read. But what that book talks about is every decision is either getting you closer to your goals or further away. There is not one decision that just keeps you here. There is no straight line in life. You are either going up or you are going down. And I want to talk about the fact that coaching is not just about sending invites, guys. It's not just about posting every day, doing your workouts every day. Coaching is about who you are becoming through every single one of the decisions that you make every single day. And when you think about it, that's why habits are so important, because every decision counts. From the time you wake up, from the time your alarm goes off, what's the first decision you make? Did you snooze your alarm and go back to bed? Or did you get your ass up and go put your workout clothes on? It starts with that first decision. Now, what's the second decision you make? Did you drink water, or did you grab some orange juice? You know, like that's the second decision. Okay. Now, what's the third one? Did you, I don't know, like make your Shakeology, or choose something that you know isn't going to make you feel good, or you had to run out the door and just grab coffee? Like every single one of these decisions is getting you closer to who you're going to become. And so it's about every decision you make. So what are you reading for your personal development? Are you eating according to your meal plan? I talked to Pat about this today. But how are you showing up in your relationship? How are you showing up as a mom or a dad or a sibling or, you know, a spouse? And how are you reacting when things don't go your way? And how do you talk to yourself when you look in the mirror? Every single one of these decisions impacts who you're becoming, and that's what you have to focus on. It's everything. It's every single decision, but you have to understand that it starts with one. Like I started this call, we have so many things going on in our brain all of the time, and especially if you struggle with anxiety like I have, like it can be really easy to get overwhelmed super quickly, but it starts with one decision. One single decision. Like I said, that one decision that you make in the morning of whether to snooze your alarm or not, that's gonna impact the next decision you make. Because if you snooze your alarm, you're probably gonna have to run out the door. That's gonna impact the next decision you make. That's probably gonna impact how you feel. So you have to understand that it's one decision at a time. And if you take anything away from this, like one thing at a time. And it's whatever you're facing right now in the present. So I want you guys to take action away from this call. And so I have 3 tips that are going to help you really take this lesson, this really, really simple lesson, guys, and put it into action, because we know that we can get off these calls. We can jump on these calls every single week. We can listen. We can write all of the notes. But if you are not taking action after these calls, you will not grow. You will continue to make those decisions that are not going to get you closer to those goals that you want. So the first one I want you to write, number 1 is I want you to write down a huge goal. One goal, and Keith Callahan talks about this. I know Pat already mentioned him, but I've been on a real Keith Callahan kick lately. If you haven't read Built to Last, you need to read it. It has totally changed my mindset in this business and really helps me focus on the things that matter. So number 1 is writing down like a 5-year goal, one that is going to kind of take over all of the rest of the goals that you want to hit. So for me, I have always said that I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25. So I have 3 years to make that happen. But write a 5-year goal, a 3-year goal, something that like a big goal that is going to help all of the other ones fall into place. And now I want you to ask yourself, like, who do you need to become in order to achieve that goal? Because it's not the tasks, guys. It's, you know, what the decisions that you need to make, those small decisions. You know that you need to drink your Shakeology. You know that you need to work out. You know that you need to send the invites, but it's about focusing on who you are becoming during that process, becoming the person that, you know, does the extra rep at the end of the workout. It's becoming the person that chooses, you know, the healthy salad option when they're out to eat or something like that. It's about becoming that person. So I want you guys to write down, how does that highest version of yourself show up? And I want you guys to write that down every morning. It might sound like a lot, but I'm so serious, guys. I have affirmations all over my bathroom like mirror that I read through every day, and I also have them on my iPad that I write down. If you peeped my stories today, I literally run you through my morning routine. That's a side note thing, but for real, if you do not have a morning routine, like, get on it tonight. Set yourself up for success tomorrow. So I want you guys to write that down. Write those basically affirmations of your highest self. Write them down every day, or write them down today and read them every single morning. That way, when you are in a situation and tempted to really go back to those old habits, those things that have been holding you back forever, you can ask yourself, like, how would my highest self act in this situation? And do that, because that's going to build that habit that takes you to that next level. So that is number one, is really writing down that goal and figuring out who you need to become, and also creating some kind of personal development plan that's personal to you that is going to get you there as well. Number two, take a deep breath. So we can all do this together, but for real. Guys, take a deep breath. So many times we will fall back into our old habits because it's our automatic response. It's what we've known our entire life. And that's kept us safe. But we're not trying to stay safe anymore. You're trying to grow, and that pushing outside your comfort zone it can be really, really hard. It can be really challenging and feel so uncomfortable, but that's what's going to allow you to go to that next level. So I want you, for my tip number 2 is take a deep breath. So it's so easy to fall back into those habits, but if we all just took a minute to breathe and be present, and we 5-second rule it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we would make the decision that served us long term, that is our highest self. It's so simple, but for real, taking a deep breath is everything. Number 3 is understanding that you can't do it alone. Thankfully, as coaches, we have this incredible community. We have this amazing team around us that supports us and reinforces these healthy habits that we want to achieve and grow into. But you have to understand that it's bigger than that. Life is going to get really, really hard. I feel like for me, I talked about this. If you follow me on my Instagram, I've talked about this recently, but I feel like this past year was probably the hardest year of my life, like mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, like every single aspect, it tested me. And that's why I say you cannot do it alone. You have to understand that it's not just this community, but it's bigger than that. It's whatever your faith is, whatever you believe in, you have to almost believe in something to get through those hard days, because life's going to get really hard. There's going to be times when you lose a loved one, or for me this past year, my best friend ended up in the hospital for 10 days and I had zero control and no knowledge on what was happening. And it was scary, it really, really tested my faith. And another example is just like, maybe you're fighting with your significant other, or you get a rude comment on your social media. Guys, life is going to get really, really hard, and you have to almost expect that and be prepared. Have a plan of action for when it does get hard, because it's going to. And your faith has to be so freaking strong during those times. So remember that you are not alone. And during those times, ask for help, ask for guidance. I know for women, I feel like especially, and probably for men as well, but for women, a lot of times we do not want to ask for help because we just want to control everything. Like we want to have everything in control. We want to be able to handle everything that comes our way. But guys, just ask for help. So many people are willing to help you out when they know that you really need it. So ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for strength, and then just surrender. And during those really hard times, focus on the things that bring you joy. So maybe during that you're allowed to be human too. So maybe during that really hard time, you really don't have the energy to give any energy to anybody else. So maybe focus on what does give you joy. Maybe your workouts give you joy. Go 110% at that. So whatever you believe in, you can't do it alone. It's going to be really hard, but whatever your faith is, for me, it's through God, all things are possible. So I want you guys to leave this call and take action. So a little refresher. Number 1 is write down that really big goal and who you need to become in order to achieve it. Number 2, take a deep breath. And number 3, understand that you can't do it alone. So I want you guys to take action on those three things. Put your blinders on and ask yourself, like, what do you want out of this? What do you want out of your life? And what does your dream life look like? Who do you need to become in order to achieve that? and then make that big goal, reverse engineer what you need to do, and focus on who you need to become in order to get there. But understand that it's one decision. It's one decision every single day. And it's those single decisions that are going to compound and really, really get you to that level that you want to go to and those goals that you want to achieve. But you are so freaking capable, and you are surrounded by the best team ever, I believe. For real, you have the best community. So lean on it during those hard times and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself this year and just go freaking hard. Go change lives. So that's what I got for you.
Boom! That was awesome. See if I can bring it back. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can put it in the chat here, or you can even just unmute yourself and ask. But I'll kick it off, Maddie, and ask you if you want to answer those first two questions yourself. If you want to kind of share how you responded to those,
Okay.
your big goals, and then who you want to be, or who you have to be to achieve it.
Yeah. So like I already said, my number one goal for like 3 to 5 years is to earn $1 million a year. Sounds scary, but I've been saying that for, forever since I first got started. And I believe I'm completely capable. We all are in this business. There's no like special someone that can achieve that. You just have to, like Pat talks about all the time, like consistency over time, and imagine that elevator. So that is my like.
We've seen them. Yeah. We've seen enough people do it, and we've gotten to meet them in person and realize that they're just normal, good-hearted people that work hard. Keith Callahan being one of them. The guy that I talked about that I wouldn't have ever met if I didn't drag my butt off the couch and force myself to go to that first Super Saturday that I was so close to just being like, I'll go next time. But he's a perfect example of. He's not some superhero. He's just a good, hardworking guy, that stayed really consistent and patient. And now he is earning $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Keith. And that's just a little side note of get to live events for real. Like this Super Saturday, like make it a non-negotiable. Do whatever you have to do to get there, because live events change your business and they keep you close to the fire. Like Danielle said, this business, like, even for me, like being a full-time coach now, it can, and I was talking to Pat about this, of like, it can almost get lonely being behind a computer screen. And so you really have to take advantage of those live events, because there's so much fire there and they're so much fun. So make sure you get there. But to answer your question, that is like my biggest goal for the next, 3 to 5 years. But who I need to become, I think it comes down to, like I was talking about, those simple decisions of, I'm going to have to become the person that, gets up on my first alarm. I'm going to have to become the person that is resilient. I'm going to have to become the person that does the extra rep, that doesn't skip out those last few. It's the little things. It's really the small things. And also, I'm going to be that person that has so much faith and puts my faith over fear every single day. I'm going to become the person that, it just is a light and is, focuses on who I can serve, because that's what this is really about. I know we talked a little bit about that today, but for real, this business, when you really get into it, I think at first it's definitely like selfish motives, of course. Like we want to be able to take care of ourselves and provide for our family. But once you really start growing your own team and everything, you understand that it's not really about you, and it's about like the legacy that you're creating and for the people you're impacting, not just for, the people closest to you, but the people that are going to remember this like years and years and years down the road, and their kids, like you matter. Like every single thing that you do, don't question it. Like you're making a difference just by showing up for yourself. So that's the answer to my question, or to the question you had.
Love it. And then if anyone else has any questions, you can throw it in the chat. I was going to kind of go on the opposite end of the spectrum for like a brand new coach. What's like the one thing, if you could only tell them one thing that they should focus on more than anything else that's going to help them move their business forward, what would be the one, I mean, a mindset aside, like the one kind of like activity.
Okay. I know, I feel like we always go mindset because at the end of the day, I feel like it's your mindset that gets you there. But I would say go all in with your own journey, because like your own workouts and nutrition, because those are the things that are going to really instill that belief that you need, like constantly. It's not just something that you get in the beginning. It's that constant belief in not only yourself that you're capable of doing hard things, but that belief in our products and our programs and our company. So the one activity is really like go ham and get results, because that's going to really instill that belief that you need now and long term.
Yeah. We talk a lot about sharing your journey on social media, but it's hard to share your journey on social media if you're not on a journey, so
Yes.
and it's a lot easier to share on social media about your journey if you really are excited about your journey. And that's like, that you're, like you said, with coaching, with your own journey, there's going to be points where you just lose the spark with it. And maybe you need to put down that book you're reading and pick up a different book or a different author, or you need to try a different trainer, a different workout program, a different meal plan. You got to always kind of be re-falling in love with your routine and your own journey, reinventing your own excitement about your own journey, because that's what's going to keep things fresh. And it's going to make it way more fun and easier sharing that and inviting other people to be a part of it if you're finding new books and new workouts and new ways to re-fall in love with your own journey. One thing I notice about myself is if I'm having a tough time with sharing on social media, it's because the book that I'm reading or the person I'm listening to on a podcast is not speaking to me. If I'm reading a book that really I connect with, or a podcast that really connects with me, I can't help but share on social media. That's all I want to do is share that stuff, because it's landing so strongly for me that I'm like, I got to share this with other people. If I'm struggling to share what I'm doing, it's because I'm not connecting with the trainer or that workout program, or I'm not connecting with the book or the author. And after being a coach for over a decade, I've had to reinvent and re-fall in love with my own journey over and over and over. And when I'm doing that and I'm falling in love with my own journey and excited about the book I'm reading and the workout, and the inviting becomes so much more fun and so much easier, and running the challenge groups and all that. So I think we talk a lot about sharing your journey on social media, but I think you nailed it with, you got to fall in love with your own journey and reinvent that and re-fall in love with your own journey over and over again. And that's why I think a lot of people love New Year's, because it's like a new time. It's a new thing. It's like re-falling in love, but it's a long year. You got to find ways to do that throughout the entire year, other than waiting for the next new year,
100%. And I was just going to say, like, with that being said, it's really a matter of stop trying to force something and go with what flows and feels good. Because, for example, I was not a fan of Morning Meltdown. I really was dreading my workouts, which is not something that is me. I love working out. I love crushing a workout. I love lifting weights, all of it, but I just did not love Morning Meltdown. So I finished it because it was something that I committed to, and I couldn't not finish it. But with the last probably 30 days, I started another program with it. Who says you can't do that? So like Pat said, don't force it. If something's not speaking to you in this season of your life, go look up something else. Go choose a different book. I often am reading 2 or 3 different books at a time. And I think it was Danielle Natoni last night was on a call that I was on, and she said, just every morning she goes on YouTube and looks up what she needs that day. So maybe that's what you need too. I think I almost needed permission to do that when she said that last night. I was like, oh yeah, maybe on the days where a book isn't speaking to me, maybe that's just what I need to do is go on YouTube. If I'm struggling with self-doubt or belief, go watch a motivational video. Chances are 5 minutes later, you're going to feel like you can rock the freaking world. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah. For sure. And then, when you do feel like that, you feel like you can rock the world, then that's when it's fun to start inviting people and talking to people and having those conversations, when you're like kind of feeling like you're drudging along through the muck and you're just like not in love with what you're doing. Why would you have excitement to invite other people to do something that you're not even excited about, So I think that's what is such a cool thing about Beachbody is they're always coming out with new workouts and new trainers, and Carl's going to continue to do that so that we're always going to continue to have things to be excited about, and so that we can reinvent our journey and re-fall in love with our own routine. And then that helps us invite others to be a part of that too. It's awesome. So, okay, cool. So let's say you have your new coach and they're excited about their journey, and they got a book they love. They got a workout routine they love. They found the right texture and recipe for Shakeology that they're excited about, which might take a few tries. But then, okay, now what's kind of their next step for them to grow their business? What's the next thing you're going to train them on?
I mean, I definitely like inviting, but I think it's more so like to grow your business. This is something that Keith said today that I watched a video on. He was like, you have to get out of retail and start growing a business. And that's where that shift from just focusing on selling your next challenge pack and getting somebody started with a challenge pack, that's awesome. But like where you're really going to grow that freedom is your team. And so I say, like, do stuff that scares you. So run a coach sneak peek, like go watch somebody else's, get familiar with like some content, and then just get on, and speak. For me, I always find, and here's the thing, everybody is going to do it differently. Some people run 5-day coach sneak peeks. Some people run 3. Some do a live on Instagram. Like, you're probably going to try it all. As a new coach, I think that's probably what I would say is like, you're going to go through a million different ways and just keep growing every time that you do it. But inviting to the coaching opportunity is probably that next thing for sure, because that's where you're going to build that freedom. And that's when it really gets fun. Like, that's where your leadership skills step up. And like I said, like, that's where you really start to see the impact that this business can truly have on somebody, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and financially.
So when you're talking on social media and you're inviting people, are you inviting kind of sometimes to a challenge group and sometimes straight to the coaching opportunity, and you kind of just feel it out of where that person's at?
Yeah. So if anybody gives me a financial excuse, I always bring up coaching. And I think that that's like, maybe, I don't know, not something that all of us do, but I feel like we have a gift, and you have to understand that. Like, you have to know in your heart that like you holding back the coaching opportunity from somebody like could literally be you holding back, like changing their entire life. So whenever there's a money excuse, like I always bring up coaching. I always ask them if they've ever considered it, and ask them if they want to jump on a one-on-one call. I find for me, like I said, I've done a lot of different things, and one-on-one calls, when somebody feels my energy, they know I'm real, like you get to know them on a deeper level. So I don't even know what your question was. Oh, you said if I was inviting all the time.
No, I'm just curious, like, I just wrote that down. I think that's something that everybody on this call, like if you have a place where you write your goals or somewhere you can see it all the time, or a Post-it note on your computer screen, write that down, what she just said. We have a gift. I think we overlook that all the time, or we have some weird perspective of what inviting is. Like, we are giving an invitation to others, and it's their choice what they do with it, but it is a gift. And we just bought it. We just have to at least make sure that they have the opportunity to do with the gift what they want, instead of holding back and being in our own head and thinking about ourselves and what other people might think of us. Like, get out of your own head, stop worrying about what other people are going to think of you, and treat this like the gift that it is, and come from your heart. And I think that's something that I have to remind myself of too a lot of times. And I wrote it down, and it's something that I want to put somewhere and have it as a reminder every day that, yes, this is a gift. If my buddy hadn't reached out to me and told me about this, I don't know, I'd probably be in a cubicle right now, probably, and it's January, so I'd still be working right now, doing someone's taxes or some kind of audit or something like that. But I love that. I'm putting that somewhere. We have we have a gift. Cool. So someone has a call here. Do you do calls to people who aren't challengers yet? If so, do you use Zoom? Do you get them to commit to you to that extent?
Okay.
How do you get them to commit to you to that extent?
Okay. Okay. So you said that aren't challengers or coaches.
Yeah.
So the thing that I was just talking about is like inviting somebody that is not a challenger. So if I bring up coaching or ask them if they've ever considered it, yeah, they're not a challenger or a coach yet. So yes, I do. Sometimes I ask them to like fill out so this is something that Keith Callahan does, and I've been trying to implement lately, is have them fill out like a quick application. It's super simple, and then we get on the call. Or honestly, you have to trust your intuition. Like if you feel like this is somebody who really wants change, but that you can feel that they're like nervous or whatever, I'll just ask them to get on. If I have time, like I'll ask them to get on a call like right then. So kind of feel it out. But how do I get them to commit on that level? I think that comes from your confidence and your passion. Like I said, when people feel your energy, they're going to want to be a part of it. And even if, it turns out that they really are not in a financial spot yet, they're going to remember you. They're not going to go to the gym when 2 months later, when they do have the money, they're not going to choose the gym. Like they have gotten to know you on a deeper level and understand that you care about them. So they're going to come back to you. So to answer that question, I feel like, yes, I listen to my intuition. And if I feel like there's somebody who is really wanting to, make the change and they're willing to get on a call, if they're willing to get on a call, then chances are they want to make the change, I hope that answers that.
Yeah. And I try to like ask them questions, like about themselves and about what their goals are, what their biggest struggles are, like how many times they've started a workout routine or a diet and quit in the last like year or two. I try to like get to know what their goals, what their struggles are. And I think that allows me to get to know them better, and it allows them to understand that I'm not just trying to sell them a one size fits all thing. I'm really trying to get to figure out who they are, what they struggle with, what is going to be the best option for them. So they get to know that about us. So I think asking them questions, letting them do the talking is always helpful. And then just keeping it super simple. I mean, like what we offer isn't rocket science. We offer workout programs that they just follow the calendar and push play. Like you don't have to oversell that. Like those things aren't on trial. Those things are proven, they work. The results are out there. You can find them anywhere. So that's the easy part is teaching them and telling them about what we have to offer in the challenge groups. But I think first ask them questions.
I was just going to add to that something that you said. So you said we don't have to like really oversell that or like try hard to sell that. We don't, because that stuff is simple. Like the part that we have to essentially sell is ourselves. And the way we do that is by showing up and getting those results and inspiring them. That was just like side note, but
yeah. And I think one of the most inspiring things is consistency. So one thing to always keep in mind, especially as a newer coach, is that a lot of these people you might hop on a call with or be having conversations with, they aren't going to be ready just yet. But that doesn't mean that it was a failure. It doesn't mean it was a waste of time. There's so many people you could hop on a call with or have a conversation with that it stalls out or they're not ready yet. But you're going to continue to inspire them by you just showing up and continuing to be consistent yourself. That's inspiring, not some heroic doing backflips and just showing up every day. That's what's going to allow them to continue to see you showing up and eventually get to that point where they're ready to say yes. But those no's are so important. Like those no's are, the longer you have been a coach, the more you understand that no's are a really great thing, because you see how many people that said no come back around and are ready to do it. And you start to realize as a veteran coach that no's are a great thing and that they're just part of the journey. And if you haven't gotten your no's yet, you know, from those people, then they're further away from saying yes. So we know that we start to love our no's. We start to really crave our no's because we know that that's just that person's one step closer to eventually being ready to go. And we just got to continue to stay consistent now. Yeah.
Big facts.
Cool. Back to The Slight Edge, which is also the first book that I ever read. So maybe that's a sign that, and it's a great one.
Key.
Yeah. I think that really is. The Slight Edge is the book that, I think this is the book that you need to read before you read any other book, because you need that book to be able to apply all the other books. You need that book to be able to apply any of the tips you hear on one of these videos or a training call. If you don't have that Slight Edge, if you haven't read that book, then all of the training and stuff aren't going to work for you unless you have that Slight Edge to be able to apply what you're learning. So that is why we always say that's the first book you should read. Which is more important, being motivated or being disciplined?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Definitely disciplined. Motivation is very fleeting. There's going to be days when you feel hella motivated, and there's going to be days when you don't even want to get out of bed. It's about, like I said, creating those habits and understanding that every decision does matter. But having those habits to fall back on the days when you're not motivated. So just like we preach to everybody that, you know, we speak on our stories or what our social media, we show up for our workouts every single day, whether we're motivated or not, because we understand that those are the actions that are going to get us to our goals. So definitely disciplined.
Yeah. It reminds me of Jim Rohn, which is kind of funny because when I bought that book, The Slight Edge, it was actually at the same first Super Weekend I ever went to. They were selling The Slight Edge. So not only getting to that event, now that I think about it, was even bigger than I originally thought, because not only did I meet some of those people, but they were selling the book, The Slight Edge. So I got that book. And they were also selling the CD called, back when some of you guys don't even know what CDs are. Like, my car doesn't even have a CD player. I'm like, where's the CD player in this thing? Like, they don't even put CD players in cars anymore. But back then, like, I bought the CD, and I remember when I first used to get on these calls, and there was like people talking about, like, you know, back in my day when we had cassette tapes, and now I'm one of them. You know, like, man, all of a sudden I'm like talking about, like, I'm the dinosaur now. But anyway, they sold the CD called How to Build Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn. It's on YouTube now, so you can watch it. But between that book, The Slight Edge, and that YouTube video, How to Build Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn, and its last name's R-O-H-N, the whole discipline thing, he has a little segment on that and on that YouTube video where he talks about being able to discipline your disappointment, which was a very hard lesson for me because I, like every other brand new coach, wanted people to say yes right away. And when they didn't say yes right away, I would get disappointed. And when I get disappointed, I wouldn't stay disciplined. And so learning to discipline your disappointment means that when you get disappointed, when people say no, you stay disciplined anyway. That's the Slight Edge. That's learning to discipline your disappointment and stay disciplined when you're disappointment, and continue to just keep showing up when you hear no, because those no's are people that are just going to watch you even closer now. A no means I'm not ready, but I'm going to watch you a lot closer now. That's a seed you just planted. So hopefully you guys get a chance to check out that YouTube video, how to build your network marketing business, because that was another game changer for a lot of us. Back when CDs were a thing. Any last little thing, Maddie? Any last piece of advice or words of wisdom before we wrap this thing up?
Just keep going. Just never ever get off. Like, I always tell my girls, for me, quitting has never ever been an option. Like, I knew that putting myself first and, you know, showing up, like, that just is my life, you know, like taking care of myself is my life. And when you do that, like I said, it's not about those necessarily tasks that you're trying to figure out how to do. It's about like who you're becoming. And maybe you're not in the season of your life right now where you want to grow this huge business, but chances are there's probably going to come a time when having that little extra income or having this community like really is your lifesaver. And so take quitting off the table. That's like, it's just silly. That's just silly, because this is the best community you can be a part of and the best thing that you can do for yourself. And not only yourself, like I said, everyone that is surrounding you and the people that you don't even understand that you're impacting, because it really is a legacy. It's a ripple effect. Every single time you show up for yourself, like you're impacting somebody else too. You're inspiring them to do the same. So just keep going.
Just keep going. I love it. That was awesome. All right. Let's let everybody, if you want, to unmute yourself and give Maddie a big boom on 3. And hopefully you guys are getting to your super weekends. Maddie and Celine and I will be at the Austin one. But hopefully you guys can find one near you guys to get to. All right. Let's do a big boom on 3 to thank Maddie for hopping on here and sharing her wisdom with us. Boom on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Love it.
Thanks, guys.
Calm down.
See you guys.
Bye.